Hello, Night Maiden and Rocco. Thank you for joining me. And John, thank you. And Magdalena and Ryan and Jeremiah. And, hi, John Waters. Thank you. I know I've seen you here before. Hi, Melanie and Hockey Tanis and Rob Feder and Adam Lightfoot and Tina Gumand and 15 Spartan and Armand and Dow Jones and Jimmy Parks and Desiree Ann and TikToker and Amuki. Thank you for joining us. And Aaron and Jude and Lainey and Diane. Is that my Diane? I couldn't tell by the name. Hi, Abel. Hello, sweetie pie. I'm back in my own house. It was a great trip, but I will tell you, I am glad to be back in the peace and quiet. Because that is not a quiet house. Hello, Trudy. Hello. Trudy sent me something, Diane, that I'm going to share with everybody tonight. Well, hi, Brandon C. and Jamie. Thank you guys for joining us. And yes, it is, isn't it? But we did come to the conclusion that I will not be doing that drive again. Hi, Faith and Smoothinizer. Hello there, user 3027. Thank you so much. I like being called cute. I can buy cute. I can actually buy that. Because you know what my grandmother said. No, I don't take requests. I do not take requests. No, I'm not going to turn my head around for you to see the back of my hair. It looks pretty much the same as the front of my hair. Thank you. Thank you, J, whatever that is, JTD 1228. Hello, Ron Howard. Boy, we got a lot of famous people in here tonight. We got a lot of famous people in here. We had I saw John Waters. Now we got Ron Howard, 2 movie directors. Today's country music. No, I actually can't play any music. Hi, Zachary. Hi, Paul Gonzalez. And Rudy. And Addo Janice. I think that's what that says. I've had to buy new glasses again because I lost and broke all the 15 pair I had. Hi, Dean, my funds. Hello, Taryn. Hello there. Hello there, I can't even talk. Taryn. Hello, Taryn. Thank you for coming, sweetheart. Diane, you can tell Taryn is Addie's friend, my cousin Addie's friend. Why can't I play? I don't play music on my live, sweetheart. I don't do that because if I play music on my live, because all of my live replays get uploaded to YouTube, and if I play music on my live, YouTube doesn't like that, and it gets me a strike, and I can't afford it. Alexis, hang on. Wait a minute. I have to, can I see I don't think I can see text on here. I had to leave the phone on because Michael is, my son-in-law, Michael, Alexis's husband, is in the hospital, and, because it seemed to have just paused it, so we're all right. My son-in-law, Michael, Alexis's husband, Michael Lindsay, he has something called, trying to think of what it's called. cervical spinal stenosis. It's a narrowing, I think, in the vertebrae, and it cuts off. Well, what it's done is, Alexis said that his hand looks like if you put a rubber band around his wrist really tight and left it on there. He doesn't have any feeling in his hand. They sent him to the trauma center at Grant Hospital in Columbus, and I mean, he's had spinal fusion. He has a lot of skeletal problems, actually, and he's very young. Hi JC, thank you for joining us. But anyway, they admitted him to the hospital last night, but he's still in the ER as far as I know. Last I heard from Alexis, he's still in the ER because they didn't have any beds available, and there were 20 people in front of him waiting for a bed. So I don't know when he's going to get put in the hospital. I mean, in an actual room. But Alexis said they called in the spinal team last night because I will tell you, Grant Medical Centers, they are a level 1 trauma center, one of probably, if not the best in the state, one of the best in the state, and probably one of the best in the country, actually. And but they called in the spinal team last night, and they are going to have to do surgery because, yeah, that is not good. But hi Shelly, I didn't know if you would still be speaking to me. Number one, after me telling you to shut up on Facebook. But I was laughing. I will tell you, Alexis was not laughing. She's like, who is this person? You cannot say anything about her boys. And Shelly made a comment on Facebook about that video of Peyton's that I posted. The video that I posted where Peyton bunted the ball, and then on errors he got 2 RBIs and made it to third base. And Shelly pointed that. I know that. And she was like, I don't care. He made it to third. And then what I said to Shelly is, Shelly, shut up. I don't care. I can say whatever I want to. This is TikTok, not ESPN. But yeah, Alexis was like, who is this person? I said, leave her alone. That's my best friend, Shelly. Leave her alone. And Shelly, I'm sorry. I was going to try to call you. If he was 5 years old, you could call that a triple, but not in high school. I love it. I loved it because mostly what I loved about it is, man, she was mad as a wet hen. I was dying laughing. I'm like, Alexis, did you not see the LOL? She's kidding, but not. Because I knew what you were saying was right, but man, she wasn't having it. I'm like, don't be mean to my friend. Damn, might be going and seeing her while I'm here. If they hadn't won that first game, I would have gotten to call you and try to come see you, but they won. So then we had to go to Heath. They won the game at Amanda, and then we had to go to Heath on Thursday, and I have no idea what we did on Wednesday. And then, of course, Friday was Landon's graduation, and then Saturday I had to go to Williamsport, Ohio for a wrestling tournament. And and then I left after the wrestling tournament, went back, loaded the car, and then met my cousin who lives my cousin and his wife and his youngest son and my grandson Blake, We met them in Pickerington for dinner. We went to the Longhorn in Pickerington. And, I left from there Saturday night because it took me 2 hours longer to get there Tuesday because of road construction and getting stuck in the traffic. And I had no cruise control. I thought I was going to die. By the time I got to Cincinnati, my leg and my foot were numb because I use cruise control. And Zach, I didn't get to check it before I left, and I forgot when Zach was doing the other work on my car. I forgot to mention it to him. I mean, it's not like I can't check a fuse myself. But anyway, I went to AutoZone in Pickerington and got a fuse, and I could tell the fuse wasn't blown, but I put a new fuse in it anyway, and that didn't fix it. Zach was hoping that's all it would be, but I had to drive back home with no cruise control, but it only took me, well, thank you so much there, James Baker Jr. Thank you for the lovely compliments. I will take them. I need a good compliment. But anyway, I got back home about 12, somewhere between 12:30 and 1 o'clock in the morning. But it was way better driving at night. But I still had no cruise control, and I didn't stop. But it only took me 3.5 hours to get home, unlike the 5.5 hours it took me to get there. And going from UK Hospital did not take an hour off of my trip there. From UK, it's 3.5 hours to Alexis's house from here. It was still 3.5 hours from UK Hospital because I wasn't taking into consideration the drive off the freeway. So there's a 30-minute drive off of 75 South to UK Hospital from 75 South, and a 30-minute drive back to the freeway. So it saved me no time, other than if I would have still waited and went to Ohio Wednesday, I would have had to make that trip to Lexington Tuesday, and then the trip to Ohio, or to whatever. I don't even know what I'm even talking about. My mind is still gone. I have not recovered from the trip, and we did come to the conclusion that I will not, because I did that test to see if I could drive there when we go on vacation, instead of having to fly from Lexington to Denver or wherever. I don't even know where. But anyway, I'm going to still go to Columbus and fly out with them. But somebody's either going to come and get me and bring me to Columbus, or I'm going to rent a car that will drive itself with, the adaptive cruise. If I've got the adaptive cruise control, then I'll be fine. So probably we'll rent a car that has that, and I will drive myself to the Columbus airport, and then I'm flying back into Lexington, and then somebody will pick me up in Lexington. And but yeah, I did have a really busy week, and I will tell you, I was running on pure adrenaline, Diane, and got back Sunday morning, and you may have seen in some of my videos, the new videos, you can't see it very much. I've got makeup over it. But I tripped and fell in Alexis's hall Yeah, that's it, Diane. It's I could have done it. If I would have had a car with adaptive cruise control, I would have been fine. Or even now the trip there, cruise control would not have done regular cruise control would not have done me a bit of good because there was too much traffic and I was in standstill traffic for 2 hours or more. And anyway, yeah, it was not good, but I'm all right. If I drive at night with regular cruise control, or if I have a car with adaptive cruise control, then I'm fine. That is the worst part for me. I can't hold my leg out in front of me on the gas pedal like that for that long. It's just too much for me because I have the back issues and yeah, it's bad. But other than that, I was tired. I mean, I was really tired, but I was fine. And I saw my doctor and my eye is healing. I still got some of that galaxy in front of my face, but he told me it could be a while, but everything looked good. Everything looked good. And I see a Ram Jam, Diane. Anyway, I don't even know what I'm talking about. And I don't know what that noise was either. Thank you, Diane, or Shelly, whoever got them out of here. You know, we should make JC a moderator. JC's here as much as Diane and Shelly. JC, do you want to be a moderator? I will make you one of my moderators. JC knows the drill. Just let me know, JC, if you want to, and I will make you a moderator. I don't know why I haven't done that a long time ago. Hi, Daryl. Daryl Hunter? Shelly and I know somebody named Daryl Hunter, but I don't know if that's the same Daryl Hunter. Oh, it's not Daryl anyway. It's Dontrell. Sorry, Dontrell. I first of all have bad reading eyes, and second of all, I can't seem to read anyway when I can see the words. Hi, Granny. Hi, Granny. Hi, Sam Vickery. Thank you for joining us. And I do have a special song for tonight, but I was going to bring my iPad in here. Hello there, Cordius Hill. I can't read that. Hi, Deanna. Cordius? I don't know what that said. I can't even say it. I have no idea. I can't. It's just a word I can't say. I'm sorry. I'm going to call you Quarter. Quarter. Sorry. I can't say it. I can't even get the word out of my mouth. So we're going to call you Cordy. Cordarius. Cordarius? Is that it? Did I get that right? Oh, there's my sweetie pie, my TikTok hero. And I'm going to ask Diane a question. Only have a second. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you for stopping in and saying hi. I'm going to ask Diane and Shelly, do you guys think it's a secret that I have a crush on Johnny Tsunami? Do you guys think that's a secret? Cordarius. What? What, Diane? Shelly's was better. Teachers used to be the same way in school. Love you, Johnny. Thank you for stopping by. I'm going to sing a Tina Turner song tonight. But you go do what you need to do. Corderius. Corderius? What did Shelley say? I'm going back to Shelley's. Corderius. I think Shelley's right. Corderius. Corderius, you're going to have to let us know which one's right. Oh. Yep, see, Johnny, I told you it was not a secret. Hello there. What is that? L on bust. Why can I not see? I don't know why I can't see this stuff. Hi, Lee Rays. Lee Rays. Good. Okay, I don't know which one was right. What, Shelley, what's WYD? I don't know what that means, Lee. I don't do well with the acronyms. What are you doing? Well, I'm doing a live. And here in about 9 minutes, I'm going to be doing what I call singing. Thank you guys. Thank all of my translators there. What you doing? What is the thing that Joey says? Oh, it's how you doing. How you doing? Not what you doing. What I'm doing is pretty obvious. Okay, Trudy. Okay, I've got 9 minutes before the song. So I'm going to show you guys something. And I did a video of it. I did a video of it. But I got today in the mail this beautiful card. If you guys want to see this better, I actually did a video that I took pictures of this. But this beautiful card, I love cards that have a ribbon on the side of them. And here's what the card went with. See this? I know it's backwards, but again, if you guys watch the video that I posted, it might be backwards in the video. I don't know whether it is or not. I don't think it is. It's not backwards in the video. Because I didn't do that video in TikTok. I took the photographs outside of TikTok. But so it's by this company, Kamal Vintage is where this came from. And see, it's this leather, and so I'll show you how the key works. And it's the handmade paper. But see, this key, I love this. I'm going to try to get it where you can see it. See, the key slides out of that little piece of leather, and then this strap wraps around it twice. And then it opens up like this. And it is a beautiful journal. And what I did, and there's a pen in there as well. But see how it's bound? And there went my pen. But what I did on the front page, well, let me get this, let me wrap this back up. You guys know how anal I am about this kind of stuff. But I'm putting it all back. But see, isn't that just, and it smells, it's got that leather smell, which I like. I'm going to put it back in the bag for now. But what I wrote inside of it, because this card that she sent has this beautiful, I'm not going to read it out loud, but what's written in the card, I took that and wrote it on the front page of the journal, and what date that I got it and who it was from and everything. But I love it. I love it. Thank you, Trudy. Thank you so much. I love my old books, and I do like that smell. I don't know if that paper may be old paper, because some people do that, but I don't think so. It's got, the leather smell is so strong, I can't tell. But hi, Billy Ray. Yeah, isn't that nice? And she wants me to have, she was going to do it, and I told her not to worry about it because Zach can do that. Zach does stuff on leather. But she wanted to have, you know, embossed on it Gracie's stories, or Gracie's story. I can't remember. I'll have to clarify that with her. Gracie's stories, I think, is what she wanted to, was going to have put on the front of it, but I can get Zach to do that. But I really love it the way it is. But I thought that was so sweet. And hi, John, 1937-68. But what time is it? We got 5 minutes, because I want to do that because I was practicing it. I did just a little piece of the song because I was going to do the whole song in a video today, and I just ran out of time. And not that I was doing anything, I just let time run out. And but I did do a little piece of a Tina Turner song. I was very sad when I heard that. And for anybody who's here who doesn't know, Tina Turner passed away. She was 83. But love Tina Turner. And what else was I going to talk about? I will give you an update because I've also been to my regular doctor, and I got an update from him that and I haven't gotten an update on Michael yet. I don't even know if he's gotten into a room yet, but that is very frightening because he's young. He's in his mid-30s. I'm not going to say his outfit. Thank you, Laura. Thank you. I was going to actually wear all black. I had a pair of black leggings out to put on, just because of Tina Turner. Hi, McDonald's apple pie. But I already had these pants on, and I actually sort of forgot to change. Am I excited? Oh, I know. That's Laura. Laura Lindsay. Hi, Laura. Have you heard from Alexis about whether Michael's in a room yet or not? Laura's going on vacation with us. Yes, I am getting excited. I am getting excited, Laura. I'm a little worried about Michael right now, though. Hi, Connie Hamlin. And, I mean, he has time still, even if, I mean, if he has back surgery now, I'm assuming he'll still be able to travel. Hi, Becky. Hi, Becky. Well, it is time because it's going to take me a minute. It's going to take me a second here to get ready. And I'm going to tell you guys right now before I start, this singing is probably, I don't remember listening to what it sounded like because I've done pretty much most of this song before. I don't remember what my voice sounded like on it. My guess is it probably didn't sound too good, or I would have done a behind the TikTok with it. And I don't think I've done that. So I'm going to still do what Zach has told me to do. I'm going to own it, whether it's good or bad. And I don't know how bad it's going to be, but it could be pretty bad. So if it is, I apologize in advance. But here we go. And I have to do it on still have to do it on my phone. I was going to say, my plan was to bring my iPad in here with a Bluetooth speaker so I could get a little bit better sound, but maybe next week I will actually prepare. Okay. That is not the one. Okay.
You'll be good enough for my son.
Sorry.
I see he enjoys the finer things in life, like his old.
Must understand that the touch of your hand makes my pulse react. It's only the thrill of girl meeting girl with the sets attract. It's physical, only logical. But I'll try to ignore that it means more than that. Oh, what's love got to do with it? What's love but a second-hand emotion? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? Acting confused, but I'm acting confused when you're close to me. Okay, do you guys mind if I start this over, because I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm gonna start it over. Sorry. I can't get my voice right. Must understand the touch of your hand makes my pulse react. It's only the thrill of girl meeting girl, opposites attract. It's physical, only logical. Don't try to ignore that it means more than that. Oh, what's love got to do with it? What's love but a second-hand emotion? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? Listening to you that I'm acting confused when you're close to me. If there's time to go pace, I read it someplace. I got cause to be, and a claim for it. There's a phrase that fits. Whatever the reason, you do it for me. Oh, what's love got to do with it? What's love but a second-hand emotion? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? Oh. I've been taking on a new direction, I have to say. I've been thinking about my own protection. It scares me to feel this way. Oh, what's love got to do with it? What's love but a second-hand emotion? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? What's love but a sweet old-fashioned notion? What's love got to do with it? It needs a heart when a heart can be broken. Ooh, got to do with it. What's love got to do with it? Needs a heart when a heart can be broken. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. What an absolute insult to Tina Turner.
But here we go.
Okay. Okay, I gotta close out on this phone and come back in because it paused or something. But yeah, sorry about that. That was pretty bad. Well, I'll be back. I'll see my comments again here. They're back on. Yeah, I could not, I just couldn't get it. And I practiced too. I actually practiced. Well, I tried. Yes, absolutely. You know, I was talking to my friend Karen today. My friend Karen actually got to see, when she was fairly young, my friend Karen got to see when it was the Ike and Tina Turner review, you know, Nutbush City Limits. Yeah. She actually got to see them in a pretty small venue, actually. I'm pretty envious of that because I'd have loved to seen her. And I'm not going to say that was her prime, though. I think her prime was the 80s. No doubt about it. Going out on her own was so good for her. I mean, obviously. I mean, there is a docuseries with her that is really, really good on HBO or HBO Max, and I think it's just called Tina. But it's a 2 or 3 part. It's been a while since I've seen it. Thank you, Trudy. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Trudy's been helping me. I'm sure she won't mind. Yes, isn't it, JC? That is such a good, and I mean, she doesn't really like to talk about, you know, how bad it was. But I don't want to say it something that is not true, but if I remember correctly, she kind of verified a lot of what was in the movie, What's Love Got to Do with It. I love that movie. That movie with Angela Bassett as Tina Turner. That movie is really good. But it's a little hard for me to watch, actually. It's just, yeah, I do love it. And I love her. I just love her. Everything she did, pretty much. But I was going to mention real quick. I said I was going to talk about something that's going on TikTok. Remember you guys, you know, it seems like months ago to me, because, you know, I had a pretty active week last week whenever, hello, sweetheart. Hello, Smurfette. Hello, Smurfette. So good to see you. So good to see you. But I was talking about how doing the longer videos, I know, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. And Smurfette, if I'm not at your live this coming Monday, I have absolutely no excuse for it. I had an excuse last week. I was packing, actually, because I put it off till the last minute. but if I need to be at your live, I'll tell you, I need that live probably more than anybody else does. Yeah, I was talking about making the longer videos, and I sort of mentioned it on my 5-minute live I realized when I got back to Alexis's house, I realized there's no place in this house I can do my live. There's no quiet anywhere in that house. And I can't tell them to be quiet. Well, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say, I need this room. You guys have to get out of here and be quiet. I wasn't going to do that. So I did it from my car, and I just stayed. And then Landon's banging on the window saying, Mom said, come on, we're going to dinner. And they actually left me, and Landon and I had to drive by ourselves. and anyway, but I did a couple of TikToks from there. They were sitting on the sofa watching TV, and I would go over the only place in the room. I did a video actually in front of the trophy case, but then I thought it looked stupid, so I took it down. But I had to stand in front of the window where the curtains were. That was the only place I could find that didn't have trophies and stuff like that in the background. And so I did, the boys were playing video. Carter was doing a VR thing, like over here in the floor. Landon sitting on the sofa playing some video game. And I don't know where Peyton was. Peyton was probably gone to bed because he goes to bed at 9 o'clock every night. And anyway, I just stood over there and held my phone up and sang. I did Give Me One Reason, the Tracy Chapman version. I did that, and my grandson Landon was sitting there like, Grandma, really? How many times are you going to do that? And I said, well, until I get it exactly right. He's like, oh God. So I didn't even care. I'm standing over there with my phone singing at the top of my lungs, and they're looking at me like I've lost my mind. And I did give 2 autographs at Peyton's baseball game, actually, to Peyton's other grandma and grandpa, because they watch my TikTok videos on my Facebook music channel. I have a Facebook music channel called Music for All, and they watch my TikTok videos on there. And so they were like, oh, and so I had my little business cards, and I signed the back of my business cards and gave to them. Alexis like, oh God, do not encourage her. But yeah, I mean, they wanted my autograph. It's like, they're old like me. But anyway, back to what I was saying about, and I also did a duet with Junior while I was there. I went out and did a duet in Alexis's car because the interior of her car matched the car that Junior was in when he did his half of it. And the Carter's like, Grandma, do you have to video everything? And I haven't gotten Landon, and Zoe had her 5th grade graduation last night. I haven't gotten Landon's graduation or Zoe's little graduation thing. Hi, Abraham. I haven't got the videos all put together yet into a video. The baseball one was easy to do, and the wrestling one. How about the wrestling one? I told Johnny Tsunami that I was going to say that this bruise on my face came from the wrestling, that I got kicked in the face, because I did almost get kicked in the face, and they landed in my lap. Am I a writer? Well, actually, I'm not professional writer anymore. I have been a professional technical writer before. But no, I do write, but I don't do it enough anymore that I would call myself a writer. And I have written copy and I have written technical papers professionally, but that's all. I have not written anything published. How's that? Other than ad copy. Hi, James Zemo. I don't know. Zamadius. I don't know, Jim. I'm just going to call you James. Good evening, James. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Smurfette, for sending likes. Thank you. You guys have us up to 1,200 likes already. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. You know what I was telling you about the two, when I started doing the videos over 2 minutes, how they were getting 2,000 or 3,000 views. Well, then they went up last week. Last week I had 2 of those videos. One of them is right now, I think, at 10,600 and something. And the other one's like at right at 9,600. And then I had a couple that were right around 5,000 and one of them. But anyway, that came to a screeching halt. And I heard Linda Love was saying something. She made a video that I saw, and she was talking about how she was starting to get her views back, and she got 20,000 views on a video, and then bam, the bottom dropped out. Well, the same thing happened to me. I got those 2 videos that were 10,000 and close to 10,000 views, and then 4 and 5 and 3 and, more than 200 views, which is what I've been getting. And the bottom dropped out. I did, that video that I did of that Sugarland song, what is it? I can't think of, Stuck on You. Stuck like glue. I thought that was a pretty good video. I think it's got like 100 and something views, and it is a longer video. But so it was working there for about 29 or about 30 days. And then, but what Linda was saying is that as soon as she got, in which I don't know that much about the shadow banning, but I can tell you that the bottom dropped out of that. My videos were, the views that my videos were getting was from all of you guys, all of my friends who watch pretty much every video that I send. And there's about 12 of you that I like, Diane and Junior and Brenda. And there's about 10 or 12 people that pretty much every video I make, I send to you guys, because you haven't told me to cease and desist. But, I have people who watch pretty much every video I post, they watch and comment on. That's what those couple of 100 views always are. But those videos were not put on FYP at all. And I think that's what Linda means when she says shadow banning. But I'll tell you, after there for a week, it didn't matter what I posted. They weren't getting very many views. But, no, actually, Kaza, I didn't forget. I tried texting your mom, and then Alexis told me that your mom was working. And that's why I didn't forget, actually. I thought you guys were going to come to Landon's graduation also. I did get to see Blake. I got to see Blake and Bailey. But, hi, Lama Colt. Thank you for joining us. But anyway, so I don't know, Linda may be right about that. You know, it's like we serve at their pleasure. And I heard somebody else say that, you know, you think about your audience, but you've got two audiences. You've got, you know, the people who on TikTok who watch your videos, and then you've also got TikTok. And TikTok likes what they like. So, anyway. Hi, Scott W. Thank you for joining us. No, I have not read Mammoth Hunters. I have not. I don't know what Mammoth Hunters is about. Probably something. Is it anything like Clan of the Cave Bear? I did read all the Clan of the Cave Bear books. Hi, BB420. Thank you for joining us. But anyway, I was just going to mention that up until today, I was going to say, well, my experiment worked, but then the bottom dropped out of it. But then today, it picked back up again. I reposted that whiskey, what is it? Tennessee whiskey song. And that video was getting quite a few. Hi, Charlie. Hi, Charlie. That video was getting quite a few views. And so we'll see. I'll keep doing the experiment because I've got several songs that I want to do. Hi, Doug. Hi, Doug. Thank you for joining us. But so I will. What I'm hearing is that TikTok still likes the over 2-minute videos. That is their preference, is the over 2-minute videos, and that they are trying, and they're doing a pretty good job of acclimating people to get used to watching longer videos on TikTok. Maybe they're trying to give us back our attention span. I did not, Smurfette. I did not. Did you send it to me? Because I haven't. Here's all I've done. I've made the few videos that I've made. I've pulled some out of, you know, my private videos that are the raw version and redone them. But all I've pretty much done is kept up with comments. I've replied to comments. I've done what little I've done with videos, and that's pretty much it. I will go watch it, Smurfette, when I get off of here. But if you don't mind sending it to me, that would be great. Hi, True Blue. Thank you. But no, I did not see it. But Smurfette, this is something I was going to say. Good job. Good job. That is great, Smurfette. That tells you right there, doesn't it? That tells you what stress does to us. Yeah, that's what stress does to us. Because I will tell you, when I'm stressed, my blood pressure will shoot through the roof. That is a testament to that. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad you did a video about that. And you know, I can tell you that years ago, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, whenever it was that I quit smoking, they had me start monitoring my blood pressure because my blood pressure was, you know, way higher than it should be. This is before my congenital heart defect was diagnosed. Absolutely. But when I started monitoring my blood pressure, this volume is up on here. That's what's annoying me. I monitored, you know, I checked my blood pressure before I smoked a cigarette and then after I smoked a cigarette. And my blood pressure went up 40 to 50 points. And I'm like, all right, we cannot do this anymore. And when people talk about vaping, and I'm not recommending that anybody vape, but if that's what it takes to quit smoking cigarettes, because I will tell you, I've done that same experiment with vaping, and it does not raise your blood pressure. When I can take my blood pressure, vape, for 5 or 10 minutes, take my blood pressure again, and it doesn't change at all. So, and I know people, but now there's a safe way to do that too. But, and I do not recommend that anybody, but I will tell you who recommended it to me was the Cleveland Clinic. They're the ones that recommended, and they are the only ones at the time that had done any studies. And it is not safe, but it is safer than smoking They said, how they presented it to me is they're not going to recommend that you inhale anything into your lungs. It's not a good idea. But if you cannot quit smoking any other way, if you've tried all the other methods and nothing else works for you, it is better than smoking cigarettes by a long shot. But you're still getting the nicotine. And the nicotine, I'm afraid that that's probably the first thing that I will have to stop doing is drinking any caffeine. I'm lowering it down, and then I will eventually not be able to have any nicotine. So it doesn't matter. Yeah, see, and Becky, the only reason that I noticed that, because I had an inclination, because I know every time I smoked a cigarette, I would feel like death. I mean, this is toward the end. And I was never a heavy smoker, and I don't really inhale. When I vape, I don't really inhale, but there's this other little weird thing. Yeah. But yeah, I've always checked my blood pressure, but I've never, they had me monitoring my blood pressure. I was having to keep a blood pressure log. And that's when I thought, well, let's see about this. And it's really bad. It's really bad. And, anyway. Oh, you are Forks Over Knives, Smurfette. That's where I got Forks Over Knives too. The Forks Over Knives is a whole lot about the Cleveland Clinic. And I did that for 2.5 years. I did the whole food plant-based diet from Forks Over Knives. I did that for 2.5 years. And, I just couldn't do it anymore. Because if it had a mother and a father, I didn't eat it. The problem is I needed to lose about 50 pounds, and I couldn't do it like that. I was not able to do it like that. Because when you're eating like that, you're eating more carbs, and the only way I can keep weight off is to eat low carb. And those two did not, I couldn't get enough of what I needed without eating carbs. And plus it was hard for me to give up the fat. So if I could have done it and stayed primarily with fruits and, raw fruits and vegetables, because the way it is in Forks Over Knives, and there's the documentary Forks Over Knives, and then there's a Forks Over Knives cookbook. There's a bunch of different ones. But I have had a bunch of recipes, things that I made, that were, and I was able to do it. I mean, I ate plenty. I just, but yeah, I actually did not mind it because I just had a bunch of different things that I made because I could have potatoes. I could have pasta, which they make a high protein pasta. I could have the pasta. I could have bread, as long as you're using vegetable oil and olive oil and short, Crisco. You can have that. You can't have eggs, of course, can't have cheese, can't have any milk, none of that. But I like almond milk. I actually like almond milk. So none of that was a problem. I couldn't have my Greek yogurt. I couldn't have that. And my cheese. But yeah. In fact, I did a YouTube video of making whole food plant-based stuffed peppers. I could have all the rice I wanted. I could have rice, I could have beans, and I love all of that stuff, and the fruits and vegetables. But yeah, cheese, eggs, and meat. That's kind of my staple diet. Oh, hi, E-Mark. Oh, well, that's really sweet. Yeah. And you can do it. You really can. And everybody in my family, my Aunt Mildred would say, "Can you eat this?" And I'm like, "Did it have a mother and a father?" She's like, "Well, yeah, I guess." I said, "Well, then I can't eat it." But yeah, I had a bunch of recipes that I kind of created myself. And I'll tell you what started happening. And now they checked my B12, and my B12 wasn't low. My cholesterol, for the first time ever since because, I have that familia high cholesterol, whatever that's called. And I actually got my cholesterol down because my cholesterol's like 300. It's hovered right around 270 for years. Now it's right up over 300. I can't take statin drugs. And I'm still better off keeping my weight down, even if my cholesterol is high. And, but anyway, like recipes, like if you make cakes and stuff like that, all you have to do is substitute applesauce for the eggs, and it works fine. And I had substitutes for everything, so I could still make cakes, and I could still, and I could have all my sweets. But yeah, that was not. But anyway, they checked my B12 because my hair was falling out. I mean, my hair was bad. And anyway, yeah, no eggs. Yeah, no chicken, no pork, no eggs, no milk, no butter, no cottage cheese, none of that stuff. Grains, beans, vegetables, and fruit. And if you buy, and you're not supposed to, whole food plant-based from Forks Over Knives, you're not supposed to eat any processed food. Any food that you eat should only have one ingredient. Now, the one thing that you can't eat are canned beans because they have 2 ingredients, water and beans, and a little bit of salt. But it honestly was not that hard for me to do, and I got my cholesterol down to 170. Took a year and a half of eating like that before my cholesterol dropped. But the reason I did it is because, well, it's vegan, but it's even, here's whole food plant-based is vegans can have olive oil, and I was pretty much eating vegan because I would use olive oil and those things, but whole food plant-based, they don't want you to have any processed food. Not olive oil, you're supposed to fry your food with no oil, which I never did that totally. When I could, I cooked, without because you're not supposed to, with whole food plant-based, you're not supposed to have fats either, like margarine and olive oil and stuff like that. You're not supposed to have very much of that. So if you find the documentary Forks Over Knives, and that's a whole lot of, because, and here's why I was told to do that, because I have congestive heart failure. That is the one, I'm going to make up a number here because I don't remember when Forks Over Knives was made. But when Forks Over Knives was made, it was based on a study that they did at the Cleveland Clinic. There's also another documentary called What the Health, because, and I don't like getting into this kind of stuff very much, but I will tell you that we have been lied to. We have been lied to about what is healthy for us and what isn't. What the Health is about that. A big part of it, as any of you know, I am not a big fan of the pharmaceutical industry. This is another thing that the American Cancer Society, the American Heart Association, none of them are telling you the truth about what's good for you and what isn't. Anyway, I'm going to say 25 years ago, and I don't know what year Forks Over Knives was made, but let's say 25 years ago, they started a study at the Cleveland Clinic. And I'm just making up numbers for sake of conversation. They took, I want to say maybe started with 50 or 100 people. And what they wanted were heart patients. And I'm not at that place yet where all hope is gone. There is nothing really they can do for me. But 25 years ago, they started, I'm going to say they started with 100 patients. I don't know what they started with, but they asked for patients who were at death's heart patients. I'm talking about reversing congestive heart failure and coronary artery disease, plus a lot of other things that they've had success with too. They took patients that were at death's door, that had no hope left. They got, I'm going to say 25 of them. Again, and I'm making up numbers. You've got to watch the documentary to find out those numbers for yourself. They took 25 people is how many people they ended up with, because a lot of people didn't even want to try it. And a lot of people started it and said, I can't do it. But after 20 years, all of the people who stuck with it, and I don't want to state that as a matter of fact, but if I'm not mistaken, after 20 years, all of the people that stuck with it were still alive and actually healthier than they had been when they were young. That's why that was recommended to me, because of me having the congestive heart failure and issues with my heart that are thought to be irreversible. They are not irreversible. And the reason that I said people like the American Heart Association and the American Cancer Society, that they're lying to us, is because if you go to their web pages, do you know that one of the worst, and they've also, the American poultry industry is a big supporter of both of those. The American Beef Association, the American, all of those things that we have been told that are bad for us, that have cholesterol. Well, what they actually did, because if you take an 8-ounce chicken breast and an 8-ounce sirloin steak or pork chop, the cholesterol between the three of those is insignificant. There's such a small difference. And they actually blame most of people who have high cholesterol on that information that you have been given and that we have been given, that chicken is healthier for you. And because people think that chicken is low in cholesterol, they eat a lot more of it. And that's not true. That is not true. Chicken, the difference between the same amount of chicken and the same amount of a steak, or the amount of cholesterol in it is insignificant. The difference is insignificant. I'm not saying there is zero difference, but it's still not healthy for you. It is not heart healthy. And then they started that thing saying pork is also white meat. Well, that's a fact. It is white meat. Chicken, pork, beef, no meat is good for you. If you have if you want to lower your cholesterol. None of those, that doesn't work. That's why, and that is not to the advantage, and I'm going to get controversial, that is not to the advantage of the pharmaceutical industry. That is not to their advantage because of the trillions of dollars that they make from statin drugs. They made the decision to, instead of telling people what's actually healthy for them, and here's why I'm saying what I'm saying about the American Heart Association and the American Cancer Society is lying to us. Go look on their webpage and look at some of the healthy meals they have listed there. No. And look who their biggest sponsors are. Because, if somebody's lying to you about something, all you got to do is follow the money. You guys have heard me say that many times. Follow the money. Now, how do you think the American Cancer Society and the American Heart Association, when their biggest sponsors are the poultry industry and the beef association, and how are they going to tell you not to eat that food when they are getting most of their funding from the producers of that food? That's what influences what they put on there as a heart healthy diet. It has nothing to do with what's actually heart healthy. And here's the other thing about forks over knives and what the health. And I'm saying this, I don't eat like this anymore. And I told you why. Because it was more important for me to get the weight off and keep weight off because of number one, I was right there. I was already having to check my blood sugar. My A1C was hovering at 7 to 7.1. And my blood pressure, I could not keep my blood pressure down as low as I needed to. Once I dropped that weight, my A1C is 5.1, not even close to being diabetic. And you know, all the people in my family are diabetic, and it doesn't matter whether they're fat or thin. In fact, most of them are thin and they're diabetic because and I've been told that I can delay when I become diabetic, but if I live long enough, I will eventually be diabetic regardless of whether I have weight on or not. I don't know if that's true. We'll see. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. They want you taking statin drugs. That is I don't even know how many trillions of dollars. It's probably even, I have no idea. I can't remember, but it's huge. Their goal, just like with the narcotics, if you've watched The Greatest Crime or The Crime of the Century, about the whole opiate epidemic and how that happened and why that happened. The pharmaceuticals' goal was to have every single American on statin drugs. And I can tell you, everybody in my family, in my mom and dad's generation, every one of them were on statin drugs. The reason that I couldn't take statin drugs, or I'd have been on them too. After I'd been on them about 2 weeks, I couldn't even stand up. I couldn't lift myself up to walk. So that I never took statin drugs because of that. They know too, statin drugs, and I'm seeing it in my own family members, in my generation, in my children's generation. The ones that are taking the statin drugs are also becoming diabetic, because for women, taking statin drugs increases your risk of diabetes by something like 75 or 80%. It may even be higher than that. And when I saw that, I'm like, absolutely not. I'm already, with my genetics, way too, no, not for me, because I'm going to tell you, anything about my heart, most of that can be addressed. Diabetes, all that, that would, if I became diabetic, that would kill me. Especially with the heart issues I already have. Because you know, the number one killer is heart disease. The number one cause of heart disease is diabetes. But the other lie about statins, and again, I am not giving medical advice. I'm telling you to watch a documentary and come to your own conclusion. You know, but the truth of the matter is, once the studies became public about statin drugs do lower your cholesterol. They absolutely lower your cholesterol. What they don't do is decrease your risk of heart attack and stroke 1 iota. That's the whole reason that we were given to take statin drugs. That's, you know, my cardiologist, you got to take these statin drugs. We got to get that cholesterol down, because I'm the one that, and I should knock on wood, because it ain't over till it's over. I'm the only one that hasn't had a heart attack. And my cholesterol is 300, has been since I was probably 20 years old. And I'm the only one that hasn't had a heart attack, and I'm the only one that doesn't take statin drugs. I'm the only one that's not diabetic. Hello there. I don't know who Wizard of Riz is. Who's changed their name to Wizard of Riz? Wizard of Riz, tell me what your name is, because if you're not really my grandchild, you're about to go. Hi, Blake. Sorry, Blake. Hello, sweetheart. Hello there, sweetheart. I think Kazza's mad at me because I didn't get to go to Jessica's. But I thought they would come to the graduation. But anyway, I'll be back soon. Yeah, but anyway, my Blake's sister, my granddaughter Kazza's, she has type 1 diabetes. She'll be fine. I know she will. I wasn't going to be a smart aleck like my Aunt Carol and say, that road runs both ways. I'm not going to say that. My Aunt Carol used to say that all the time because nobody ever came to Ohio. We always had to come down here. But back to what I was saying, that was a decision. The information that's put out there, all I'm going to say, I'm not going to say any more about it. Diane, would you or Shelly do me a favor and put Forks Over Knives, comment Forks Over Knives documentary. Just do a search. You can find it. It's probably on Netflix or somewhere, Prime or somewhere. And What the Health. What the Health. What the Health. Those two documentaries kind of go hand in hand. And what is she sending me now? I'm not going out of my live. Alexis, come to my live. But anyway, good to see you, Blake. It was so good to see you. Documentaries, yeah, and just Google them and you'll find where they're streaming, because I guarantee you they're both streaming somewhere. And even if you're not gonna, I'm gonna say this, even if you have no intention of eating like that, what I was talking about, the whole food plant-based diet, even if you have no intention of eating like that, none whatsoever, those two documentaries to me are absolute must-see if you care anything at all about the truth. Because this is why I talk about all the time about our medical system being, the medical industrial complex is broken badly. That for-profit healthcare system, if people can't look at that and know that from the word go that there's a conflict of interest, let the pharmaceutical industry make a fortune off of people being sick and treating illnesses. They are creating the illnesses. They are creating the illnesses. Their actual goal, their actual goal, and I'm not saying the pharmaceutical industry should be banned. Of course we need drugs. They make some good drugs too. Most of them are old drugs, but they do make some good drugs too. Drugs that we need, drugs that I take that keep me alive. But if I took every drug they tried to prescribe for me, I'd have a gallon bucket full of pills to take every day. But my doctors know that I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be dependent on what the pharmaceutical, we're talking about critical thinking here. And if you don't know what I mean when I say critical thinking, There are bazillion books on Amazon and Abe Books about critical thinking. I'll give you 2 examples. This would be not critical thinking. Thinking that your doctor is prescribing a drug because that is the best thing for you. And just mindlessly following whatever your doctor or anybody else says to you. If you employ critical thinking, you're going to look at, now wait a minute, why would my doctor prescribe this particular drug? And once again, follow the money. So many doctors, now there have been some regulations put into place about what monies doctors can take from the pharmaceutical industry, that they're making some pretense of trying to regulate that. But the doctors listen to what the pharmaceutical industry tells them instead of doing their own research. Is Johnny Tsunami here? But instead of doing their own research, they just listen to what the pharmaceutical industry provides them. All the literature and everything, that's who they learn about the drugs from, is the pharmaceutical industry. Well, Johnny, what I'm actually talking about is more so than, I didn't intend to go on a tear about the pharmaceutical industry, but it always leads back there about how our medical industrial complex is broken. And I'm not saying don't do what your doctor tells you to. I'm not saying don't take the drugs that your doctor prescribes, but don't do it mindlessly. Do not do it mindlessly, because that system is broken. And what I was talking about, I do too, Johnny. I take 1, 2, 3, 4 drugs for my heart, but I don't take statin drugs. I take a beta blocker. In fact, I take 2 beta blockers. I take a long-acting nitrate, and I take Lasix because I have congestive heart failure, so you got to keep that fluid off of there. And that's what I take. And then, of course, I have to take potassium. I have to take the potassium because every one of those drugs deplete potassium. And I've had low potassium since I was a kid. But my point about it is don't mindlessly listen to anybody, including me. Question things. What are you talking about, Johnny? What are you talking about? I'm mostly talking about the American Heart Association is mostly, and heart conditions is mostly what I was talking about. It's what I started on, about forks over knives, the whole food plant-based diet, and another documentary called What the Health. But actually, I will tell you what sent me to the Cleveland Clinic was actually a documentary called Escape Fire. I think you can watch that on YouTube. Antidepressants and anxiety, absolutely. Yeah. No, I can't say that. I'm not going to talk about the prescriptions that people take. And antidepressants, when you're an adult, they absolutely can. If they help you, then they're working. And that's what they're meant to do. The problem with them is that they're overprescribed, and they're prescribed for young children. That's my problem with them. That is my problem with the antidepressants and the antipsychotic drugs, is how they overprescribe them, especially in children. there's something that they do called stacking those drugs. They do it in children. I don't know whether they do it in adults or not. I think they do because my cousin Rhonda takes a handful of them. But my whole point, let me boil it down. Let me distill this down to my actual point. Is I went off on all of that. Started out by Smurfette saying she was going to go on a whole food plant-based diet. And then I went off on a tear. Watch those two documentaries, Forks Over Knives, What the Health, and Escape Fire, if you can find it. Because Escape, Smurfette's probably gone. Diane, if you don't mind, I'm going to stay on just a little bit longer because I had a couple of other things that I was going to say. I don't even remember what it was, but anyway, I'm going to finish this out. Escape Fire is what sent me to the Cleveland Clinic, and I've told this story before about how I kept getting weaker and weaker, and all they could tell me is that I had congestive heart failure and angina. That is not a diagnosis. Those are symptoms. I wanted to know. Easy, Fred. Oh, yeah, Fred, you better be careful. Diane, you'll have to skedaddle. But anyway, that's what I had been experiencing. All they would do is run test after test. I had that nuclear medicine stress test. I don't even know how many times. Just test after test. And then what I would be told, you have congestive heart failure and angina. Again, those are symptoms. What is causing it? Bye, sweetie. Bye, sweetie. Yeah, I think I've run everybody off. But anyway, I'm going to finish this thought because I'm finishing it because it'll be on YouTube. That's all they could do. Well, when I watched the documentary Escape Fire, that is exactly what they described. That's how our system, the reason the documentary is called Escape Fire is because that's what firemen do. They build an escape fire so that they can get out of the fire. And what did Johnny say? Oh, I thought you were laughing at Johnny. Oh, Diane, are you laughing at Johnny saying easy, Fred? I thought, who's Fred? But anyway, that's all they do is they run expensive test after expensive test and they tell you nothing. And our medical system is broken and we have no escape fire. There is no escape fire. Escape fires are the fires that firemen set to burn backwards so that they have a way to get out when they go into, it's forest fire fighters, whatever they're called. That's why that documentary is called that, because we don't have an escape fire. And that's all they do is test and test and test. Well, that documentary, a big part of it was about the Cleveland Clinic and other places. They don't incentivize testing. They incentivize outcomes because they're doctors at the Cleveland Clinic, and there's other places too. But at the Cleveland Clinic, the doctors are all paid a salary. They're paid the same amount of money whether they run one test or 400 tests. They're paid the same amount of money whether they do one surgery or 50 surgeries. They make exactly the same amount of money. What they incentivize there is outcomes. And I can tell you here's the difference. Here's the difference. For most of my life, for 40 years of my life, there's been something about off with my heart. The SVT, the PVCs and PACs. It was always diagnosed as a defective mitral valve and a PFO. That's what they always said it was. Those two things can be fixed with open heart surgery. But that's not something that they just willy-nilly do. They're not going to go in and fix a defective mitral valve when my symptoms were not bad enough. They're not doing open heart surgery to do that. But anyway, always what I was told. And they'd run test after test after test, and that's always what I was told. Don't think so. That would kill me. But anyway, when I went to the Cleveland Clinic, they did one test. And the only reason they had me gather all my records and take them, they did one test, an echocardiogram with a bubble study. A bubble study is something that they do to find a PFO. Anyway, the only reason they did that is because my last echocardiogram was not included on the disc because it had happened too soon. It hadn't made it there yet. So they had to do one echocardiogram, and they diagnosed the core triatrium, the genetic heart defect or the congenital heart defect that I have, with one test. Because they took that one test, and then a committee of 9 cardiologists and cardiac surgeons got together, looked at that, and said, believe it or not, this actually looks like a core triatrium. And so they researched that, and I got a phone call back in person, because my cardiologist there happened to be the head of cardiology. His name is Bonito Barzilai. He's a very well-known cardiologist, and he is the head, or he was then, and he probably still is the head of cardiology at the Cleveland Clinic. He called me himself, not a nurse, not anybody else. He called me himself to tell me what he suspected, and what they suspected was wrong with me, but he needed to meet with more colleagues and try to find somebody who had actually seen a patient before with this particular defect, because none of them had. And then he called me back and he said, now we need to do some more testing. And this is why we're doing the testing. We need to see why you're having the symptoms that you are. So they did an MRI of my heart, and they did a right and a left heart catheterization to learn what the pressure inside my heart was. That's all the tests that they did. And with one echocardiogram, they diagnosed what no other doctor, even doctors, because I'd already had 2 heart catheterizations by then. They couldn't even see it in the catheterization. And because they didn't know what they were looking for, they thought I had a defective mitral valve and a PFO, and I didn't have either one of those things. But anyway, that's what they do there. It's outcome based. They don't run a bunch of tests and tell you nothing. And every test that they do, you get, it's for an outcome. And that's what I needed to know. And what I was going to say, Diane, the one thing I was going to tell you specifically is that when I went to my doctor Tuesday, my regular doctor, well, you know, whenever I had the torn retina and they tested me to make sure I didn't have a stroke and kept me in the hospital and all of that, well, they also did an echocardiogram. And the last echocardiogram that I've had done was 3 years ago. I used to have an echocardiogram done every 2 years, but I somehow lagged behind a year. I don't know why I hadn't had one done. But anyway, the echocardiogram that I had done while I was up there in the hospital, it shows, it doesn't, that's why I have to have another right heart cath, because that's how they measure the pressure. But they can tell by the echocardiogram that the pressure in my heart has gone up. And I don't want to use the word significantly, but it has gone up. I guess I should say significantly, and they won't know exactly how much it's gone up until they do the right heart catheterization, because that's what they're doing when they do a right heart catheterization. But so far we've had to double 2 of my drugs and add another drug. I'm not actually taking that other drug, because doubling... Hello there. I cannot read. Diane, I'm not going to keep you anymore. I'm going to go ahead and go. But anyway, so I'm a little... I don't go to that cardiologist until August. And I'll have one visit before they skip, because I hear they waste a doctor's visit. They already know I need the right and the left heart cath, but they won't just go ahead and schedule that. I have to actually have a visit with that doctor again. Oh, now I can see. Black Tiger, my vision is coming and going. Hello there, Black Tiger. I'm sorry, I can't see. Apparently these new glasses... Hi, Robat. But, anyway, Diane, what else was I going to say? Hello there, Black Tiger. So good to see you. Hi, Jim. Law. And, oh, I know, Trudy was concerned because I did that song, Stuck Like Glue. And if you listen to that song, you would know why, because I have been in contact with somebody that I'm not supposed to be in contact with. And Trudy was concerned when I did that song. And she was so happy when Junior said he was going to duet it, because Diane, she watches every song that I do. Well, I said mean things. Not that mean. What happened is I didn't follow the rule of do not engage, because he said something that upset me, and so I engaged. And then I felt bad about being unkind, and so I apologized. And then that invoked... Never mind. But I haven't interacted anymore. But because Trudy knew about that, whenever I did that song, she was like, oh no. She even commented, I don't even know what to say, because she watches the songs that I do, and every time she's like, I know who this song is about. But I'm not kidding. I felt bad. I had to apologize because I felt bad. I felt bad that I wasn't mean, really. Mean, it seemed mean to me, but I don't even want to say it. I mean, it was perfectly harmless. I could say it here. I'm just not going to. But it's really hard. And this is what I told Trudy, Diane. What I was glad I had that trip, and I went to, even if I was physically exhausted, I went to everything I could go to while I was there and I actually, as long as I'm occupied, and I can overcome. I'm not kidding. It's like me driving there. I can do so much on sheer absolute grit and determination. If I make my mind up to do something, there's not much I can't do. The problem is that is really dangerous for me. I have to know my limits, and I did overdo it while I was there. I absolutely overdid it. And because I'm extroverted and I get energy from being around people, and I was extroverting. Right. But see, for me, Johnny, it's not good. That is not good for me to overdo it. I just cause more damage when I do that. And right. But once I set my mind, it was like setting my mind that I was going to drive there. I would have done it if it had killed me. If I would have gotten there, stepped out of the car and dropped dead, I'd have still done it, because I'm just like that. I'm hard-headed as a mule. You can't tell me anything. You know that, Diane. Nobody can convince me of anything but me. And I have a level of determination that is dangerous, because I absolutely, if I set my mind to, you've seen me do it, like doing things around the house, that I make up my mind that I'm going to get this done. It's why they do what they do, like lying to me. Alexis not telling me until they're 2 hours out that they're coming here, because she knows that I will wear myself out and overdo it cleaning a house that, it doesn't really need cleaned. It needs dusted. But I could overcome sciatic pain with 9 bone fragments in my spinal column. I could distract myself from even that pain. And then I have a really high tolerance for pain too. That doesn't help. I'm sorry, Johnny. Are you tired because I'm wearing you out? What is Johnny saying back there? What did you say? Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm not that naive, sir. I have 4 children. I know a thing or two. Not a whole lot, but I do know a thing or two. Bad. Well, why is he getting a pass now? Oh, yeah, because he's my TikTok hero and my secret crush that isn't even a secret. Johnny, the reason I said that wasn't a secret, that I would call it a secret crush, except for I don't think it is a secret, because you don't know how we talk about you when you're not here. I've said, yes, I do ignore your innuendos, because then I would have to acknowledge that you said something bad, and that doesn't fit with my image of you. But, what was I was getting ready to say something. Oh, yeah, because when you're not here, I've pointed out to Shelly and Diane before, I'm like, have you ever noticed that when Johnny Tsunami comes into my live, my voice goes up a couple of octaves? That's why I said it's not a secret. Did you read what that person said? I guess I'm a big old girl. I'm not a little person. I will tell you that. I'm not a little person. That's why I said it's not a secret, because we talk about you when you're not here. So everybody on my live knows that. Diane, did you see? I've only done one duet with Johnny, and that's that stupid one that I did that I was actually thought was stupid. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. I love your heart and your energy too. Absolutely do. And Johnny, did you see? Oh my God. You have to go. When I get off of here, I'm going to send you the video of this. But look what I got today. It's a journal. And it's made with handmade paper. I'll send you the video where I took the pictures of it. I just did a video with pictures I took of it because I love it so much. But anyway, that's why I make the joke about I need constant it is super cool, that I need constant supervision, is because anything that I have ever wanted to do, with the exception, but I think I have the secret to that now. My problem with that is I was trying to learn by other people. The one thing that I have tried to do that I've never been able to do is play a musical instrument. And I have tried and tried, but Zach, I think, has given me the secret. I've always tried by those methods, like learning tabs and stuff like that, and Zach said, don't do that. That won't work for you. You need to just play with the guitar and figure it out for yourself. Figure out your own way of playing it, because that won't work for me. And he's right, it never has, but I've never tried it that way. I've tried it with lessons. I've tried it with teaching myself tabs and stuff like that, and I have no patience. Even when I was young, I took piano lessons and I could never learn to play the piano. My brother, I know, I do too. But anyway, that's the one thing. But honestly, here's my other problem. The other problem that I have. So many of the things that I do, I play to my strengths. I've always done that. And there's actually a whole philosophy called Strength Finder about doing that. How much better you can do if you play to your strengths and that's what I've always done. If it didn't come easy, like music, that's the one thing that did not come easy. And there's too many things that come naturally to me for me to spend that much. It took too much effort for me to learn to do that. And I like things that come naturally, like the computer, things like that. That just came naturally to me. And, you know, graphics and art and things like that, electronics, all of that stuff came just naturally to me. But music, as much as I love music and as good an ear as I have for music, I've never been able to play a music instrument except for that frog thing that I played in one of your videos. But anyway, you guys should, and I am going to do a whole I am going to do a whole Tina Turner song. I just did that little piece because I ran out of time today. But anyway, yeah, I'm pretty, the one job that I did that absolutely went against my nature and was the hardest job that I ever had was the Mercedes-Benz salesman job. And the only reason I think I could do that is because I mostly was the director of internet sales, which actually meant I did everything. I took the pictures, I put the descriptions, I dealt with the vendors, you know, like Auto Trader and Cars.com and all of those people, and did all of that stuff. And I sold cars online, but I also sold cars in the dealership too. That was absolutely and completely against my nature. But I made up my mind that I wanted to do it. And so I did it. And I just did it my own way. I was not a salesman. I was an advocate for the product. And that's how I sold. I actually read this book called The 10 Greatest Salesmen. It was written like in the 60s, and there's only one woman in that book. And that's what she did. She said, I'm not a salesman, I'm an advocate. And I knew I could be an advocate. So I didn't really sell anybody anything. I didn't sell anybody anything, and then I also have this bad trait that I would give away the store. So they would lie to me. They would lie to me about how much profit was in the car so that I wouldn't give it all away. Oh my God. Yeah. And I knew that about myself. I knew it because I had taken a test that when I took that test to see if I would be good at sales, they actually give you a test. I can't remember what it's called, but it tells them whether or not you'll give away the store. If you have the right personality to do sales. Well, I knew that I gamed the test because I'm like, what test am I taking? And they told me, like a few days ahead of time. So I went online and researched it. What are they testing for? Because I had a pretty good idea, and that's what they were testing for, to make sure. One of the things that they were testing for is to make sure you're not the kind of person who would give away the store. And because I knew that's what they were testing for, I gamed the test so that it would look like, because I wanted that job. And so that hello, Papa Smurf. Yeah, I don't know how you would take me to dinner, but yeah, Diane, so they would not have hired me had they known that. But I was the top salesman there the first month I worked there, and a lot of the months when I was on my game. Hi, Wade Z. Wilson. Thank you. Thank you for joining us, but we are going to go. Diane. I'm sorry. It's 9:30. And I gotta go over my Aunt Jackie's and I'm exhausted. I don't know why I'm looking down there. I can read up here. Thank you, Diane, for staying longer with me. And what does that say? Love you. And I will, like I always say, I want this to be your favorite TT show every Thursday night. So I'll see you next week, same time, same station. Love y'all. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Shelley, if you're still here.